other medical clinicians who are already in practice, right? So this is not people in medical school. Turns out they're starting to work on communication skills in medical schools. It's the existing practitioners who really need this help, okay? This is to help you connect more deeply with your patients through your communication skills. And it makes a really big difference. For patients, improving communications can help lessen pain and physical symptoms, improve patients' adjustment to illness, increase adherence to treatment, and result in higher satisfaction with care. And for physicians, you might imagine working with critically ill people on a regular basis, they get burned out. For doctors and other healthcare clinicians, this can help them enjoy and thrive in their work. It's associated with less burnout and results in fewer malpractice claims. So it's an important program. It's really important to learn how to communicate with these patients. In the course, and I'm just taking you through a little bit of this intro stuff, but this is an important piece. Get ready for a different kind of course, because this course is built around a story in which you, the learner, will play a key role. You will play the role of a communications coach, helping, they're fictional, but helping clinicians working with seriously ill patients in a medical facility. They will be seeking advice on how to deliver serious news more effectively. Your main job is to watch them in action. You'll be watching video clips and to advise them on what they can do to do their work better. And then if you need help along the way, there will be help available. That's basically what that's all you're gonna know. And what you'll do in the course, you'll be planning for meetings. You'll be watching videos of these meetings with patients, and then you'll create a toolkit of practices for yourself. So those are the kinds of activities that they're going to be engaging in. You can learn how the course works, meet the experts, but I think we should just dive in. So, ready to go? Hi, Dr. Berman. Hey, that's me. You're already brought into your role, so notice you've had no instruction and the story's beginning, and you're already being given a task to do. I want to point out something. In this course, something that you can't see here, just from me showing it, this course, we encourage the learners to work with a buddy. So through group participation in the program, they can have active dialogue and grapple and think about what they're confronting together. And through that dialogue, there's a lot to be learned. So that's one thing to note. Also, learners, you'll see, will submit deliverables. They'll put in answers and it'll go into the system. Those answers will go to a live human being. So there's an instructor for the course who's already talented in this skill, and they will receive feedback on the work that they've done. And there's other forms of feedback that they're going to be receiving as well, which you will see. Okay? So we start out with a message from the leader of this coaching program, thanking me for coming and helping with the coaching. And we get our first request from Dr. Robin Sullivan. It's not a doctor, it's a nurse, forgive me. And she needs help around discussing the news. So she had a rough meeting with a patient, and she gave us a video clip that we can watch about it. She explains, this was, I did pretty well in the beginning. I was really using some of the practices that we've been talking about in this communication program. She lists some of them out. She says it was only when I was talking through the results of these tests that they did with the patient and their implications that the patient started asking question after question and getting more upset as I answered them. He was really detail-oriented, so I wanted to give him the information, but the meeting ended up with him upset and me running out of time. What can I do to avoid losing control of my patient meetings in the future? Okay, so that's the situation, and now we need to dive in and help. Then we're told exactly what we're going to do. The first step that we're going to do, we're going to put ourselves in her shoes and think about, if we were there, how would we deliver the news? So first, we're really going to test our intuitions. That's going to be the first step. Once we're done, we're going to get to look at the patient chart and kind of make a plan for what we think we would do. And then once we're done, we'll get to try it, see what we would say to the patient, and then we'll move on to our next steps. So the next step, we get to view the patient chart. Here it is. Here's the chart. We get all kinds of details. This is a patient who was diagnosed with COPD in 2008. All kinds of figures about him, goes on to a second page. Oh, here's his assessment plan. So this part's going to be important. This is what the meeting is going to be about. He has severe COPD. He was stabilized with antibiotics and increased steroids. He's now going to go on oral medication. And he's going to need home oxygen. That could be a big deal. He might not be very comfortable with that. So we need to start preparing for this meeting. So now I can take a step back and think, how would I deliver this news? Let me start to envision. I'm going to walk in there. What's the first thing I'm going to say to this patient? How am I going to introduce myself? How am I going to hear from him? How am I going to reveal this news? So our practitioners will start making these plans. And then when they're ready, they can go on to the meeting. Okay, so here it is. This is where we're going to get to test our intuitions. If we're not sure what to do at this stage, we can look at a plan of attack. So we can look here and see, here are the instructions of what I need to do. I'm going to analyze the video, I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to put my suggestions in. And then the goal is to capture my intuition, and there's no need to do any research. So I'm just starting. So let's see.
So as I was explaining before, your FEV test done as an outpatient shows that your lung capacity is critically low, and your oxygen level is lower than we'd like.
Yeah, no surprise there. The ER doc explained it was bronchitis. We all know that my lungs aren't great to begin with, so one cold, whammo, I'm in the ER.
Though it's actually more than that. While you do have bronchitis, the results show that your COPD is at a point where you do need home oxygen, and that's what I want to talk to you about.
Wait. The ER doc said it was just bronchitis. Bronchitis.
Oh, so this might be an opportunity to say, what's happening there? Now, he seems a little upset and a little surprised and a little unconvinced. He was just told that something was much more major that he's facing. So I might take a look at that, and here I can type into this text box whatever it is that I'm noticing. So sounds like he isn't convinced. Seems to me like he needs some more information. I think I better explain the situation better so that he can understand. So I would type that in, and then I would be able to submit my response, and then when I'm done, I can watch
Right,
some
so
more.
Dr. Clark.
Right.
Well, what he said is accurate. While we've been treating you for bronchitis and you're over the hump now, your oxygen levels are low.
So she's going on to do what I thought. I think she needs to explain more and get him on board and convince him there's actually more than meets the eye with your illness. I'm going to go ahead and zoom to the end of this video just so you sort of see where it lands.
You lose lung function. That's the normal progression of COPD. But with the oxygen, you'll feel better and you'll live longer, and that's our goal.
So, the oxygen. Am I going to be carrying a tank around everywhere I go?
You know, I know you have more questions, and I'm so sorry, but I have to see another patient. I'll come back this afternoon with the respiratory therapist, and we'll answer any of your questions then. Okay?
Yeah. Sounds like I'm not going anywhere for a while.
Well, that didn't end very comfortably. She ran out of time. He's pretty agitated. They need to be having a different kind of a conversation. And actually, when I tested my intuitions and thought, I think we should explain more fully, I wasn't really right. It would have kind of gotten out of hand. So, I can move on to the next step. Here's what I can do now. So first of all, my instructors will be able to see where I was going wrong. I didn't get a chance to learn yet. I was really just testing my intuitions. But this is sort of my baseline. And now I can compare to what an expert would have said. And all along the way, every little data point, so you can see these are the time code points, this is where the places are that the video would have stopped and that the expert would have commented. And I can see that the expert says, sounds like this patient was expecting and hoping for his current issues to be temporary. You know, I try to make space for him to express his thoughts and emotions with an empathetic statement that leaves room for him to talk. I might say something like, sounds like this isn't what you expected to hear. So that's what they're trying to teach the clinicians to do. So I can learn something right here from here, just testing my intuitions, and I'm done with test one. Great. I'm only going to show you one more, and it's based on the same video. So here, analyze the video in a different way. This time I want you to stop the video. Whenever you see something to comment on, you should comment on what worked well, what didn't, what strategies or techniques could be used. So now we're going to be providing this doctor with feedback. So let's move on to that video. Now, I might start it and think, okay, so let's see, what can I comment? What can I say? Or I might say, okay, I learned a little something from that expert, but I still don't know that much. I still don't feel equipped. Now I have questions. What did work well in that meeting? What didn't work well in that meeting? And now that the learner has questions in their minds, they can go to learning resources. And in the learning resources, now we created a teachable moment, and they can go in here and get all kinds of resources. So there's modeling resources. Here's Dr. Bach modeling assessing patient understanding before delivering the news. There's advice. Here's Dr. Robert Arnold talking about using the ask, tell, ask with patients and families. There's book chapters to read, video links, web links with other articles and resources. I'm ready. Now I'm interested, and now I can go find what I need. And then I can watch and I can comment. I'm just going to show you how that works.
So as I was explaining before, your FEV test done as an outpatient shows that your lung capacity is critically low.
I'm going to zoom in ahead. So you remember that he said, am I going to have home oxygen? You know, what do you mean? I just thought that I have bronchitis. It's just bronchitis. Well, there's several things I could comment on, and anytime throughout the video I can stop it, and I can choose something that I want to comment on. So all of these are related to things that these physicians want to teach medical professionals to do better. So this, I might want to tailor the message to the patient, or I might want to comment on noticing and responding to emotional cues, for example. Let's say right now I'm choosing tailoring the message to the patient. I might say something, and this would just be my freehand text. To me, he seems frustrated. I think he needs to express his upset a little bit more before he's ready to accept his condition. I can submit that. I can keep going in the video and recording all of my comments to this clinician based on what I learned in the resources. And then, once I've submitted them all, I can compare what I thought was important